Hey everybody,
Hi.
Scott and
Xiao.
Xiao here. Today we are going to be drinking a tea that we're very excited about. Hopefully not long after the video comes out, it'll be pressed and available. It's the Ai Lao Mijing Village. You can see the characters here. Ai Lao Mijing. And this is one of those true Gushu teas from older tea trees. I don't know, not thousands of years old, but at least a couple hundred years old. Most importantly, however, I think this tea is really unique, and it's the first Ai Lao that we've made for a few years. Yeah. And I'd say definitely the highest quality Ai Lao that we've ever made. We got, I think, just 30 kilograms, yes. 30 kilograms in total, so not a lot. But we're going to be cupping this tea today in this silver gaiwan that we also will be offering as well. And just talking a little bit about it, just decided when I woke up today that this is a tea that was kind of in my head, and it immediately just kind of, for some reason just kind of popped into my head. I said, I want this tea, and we're going to drink this tea. So yeah, let's get to it. And it's a 150 milliliter gaiwan, so I'm going to use about 7.5 grams in here. I like to use, as you know, I like to use quite a bit of tea. But yeah, it's a big burly tea. You'll see once we brew it out. We'll look at the leaves. But again, I haven't had this tea for well over a month, or even a month and a half, I think. I drank it a couple of times when I first got the sample. Yeah. So, and again, for those of you who don't know where Ai Lao is in Jingdong County in Simao, and that's kind of what would be considered northern Simao. Another area, Wu Liang is just to the west of Ai Lao, also in Jingdong County. So this would be considered, I guess, more northern Pu-erh, as it were. How would you describe that smell?
It's very wild.
Yeah, it has
like the forest,松针的那些的 plant taste smell. 是不是有那种感觉？
Yeah. We'll do a little wash here. Our cups are still a little bit ripe Pu-erh from yesterday. But we'll drink a little bit of this and drink the wash. But the interesting thing about Ai Lao, I think, is really high up. Ai Lao and Wu Liang also have a lot of mixed leaf varietals, so they're not necessarily teas from Wu Liang and Ai Lao aren't all entirely pure Assamica. Although I think that this one is, judging by the size of the leaf. There's almost there is a little bit of bitterness there, which is interesting. I think a lot of kind of northern Simao, northern Lincang teas that have real bitterness, like Bandung's one. It tends to be actually the Gushu that actually tend to have a little bit more bitterness, and they tend to be bitter and less astringent. But our first Ai Lao we made, it's one of the first teas that we ever made under the Yunnan sourcing brand. It's the 2009 Ai Lao Jue Se.
Ai Lao Jue Se.
Kind of a cheesy name, but that one has been very popular and tastes really, really good. That might be one that we want to bring on the show soon.
Do you still have that?
Do we still? I think we still have a little bit. I can't imagine we have very much left at this point. I mean, I didn't think we produced very much. Maybe 100 kilos at the time. Not a. At the time, it seemed like a lot. I mean, it is a fair amount for a shengcha for us to produce 100 kilos. This one, 30 kilos is all we could get. So.
Yeah, it's different. This one's like very high quality.
Just really nice perfume, kind of a real orchid, and I don't know, not musky, but kind of there's like a real, almost like an animal, like not an unpleasant smell, but like a real kind of farm smell.
Yeah, for me, it's like, I remember when we were young, we go to the mountains with my mom looking for wild mushrooms. It gives me feeling a little bit of wet.
Yeah, that kind of like decomposing humus, I think as they say. Is the humus is like the dirt and the plant matter all kind of, turning into dirt, and what people call wet floor. It's interesting because it doesn't taste like that. So full-bodied and sweet, complex. There's a little bit of...
Yeah, I taste the bitter now.
Oh, this tea is so good. Oh my gosh. That was the first reaction when I had this tea. I was just like, oh. I'm like, it's from Ai Lao. It probably won't be too expensive because Ai Lao teas are typically not very expensive, but... but it was so good. I was just like, well, I'm not surprised. I mean, I think the tea growers, when they know they have good tea, they know they have good tea. They're not idiots. So, and that's fair. I think the price that they asked for it was fair, and it's not like they had a lot of it anyway. So, but yeah, I mean, compared to like, wow, there's that. It's just so unusual to get that level of bitterness and sweetness and from an Ai Lao or a Wu Liang tea. I feel like Wu Liang has a lot of sweetness. Wow. Yeah.
Yes, have very...
Oh, wow. It's almost like creamy.
I don't know what to...
Yeah, it's just
kind of
hard to describe.
Yeah. Special smell.
This is a really incredibly unique tea. I have to say though, I wonder if this is the first time that we are using this silver gaiwan to make tea.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of, for me, like silver is kind of like the holy grail. Tea brewing. I know that a lot of people probably won't agree with that, or they love their I Ching, and that's fine, but I'm just really still a little bit. You know why people do this? Because the temperature of the lid has to be exactly right for you to get the smell.
Yeah. Too hot, you can't get
much. Right when you take it off, it's too hot, and you just get this kind of like steamy kind of thing, and you're not really be able to smell the tea. There's not that crisp.
And
I get at the bottom. Go ahead.
The sky one is a good choice because it's if people want to try to use the silver, but the silver teapot is kind of a little bit expensive, actually expensive. This guy one is much cheaper than the silver teapot.
Yeah, that's true. It's definitely kind of a good, and I think it should perform, nearly as well, if not as well.
Yeah.
It's so sweet. It's just this bittersweet, and then there's this floral, and then there's this like kind of like sugarcane, vegetable. I love this tea. Maybe I don't. Maybe we shouldn't sell it. Maybe we should just keep it all.
Keep till after 10 years.
Oh my gosh,
Then
yeah.
you can
But
sell.
that's not very nice, is it? Especially now we've made a video about it. But there were some other really, well, besides the Iwo teas, which obviously were produced, I think, just in 10 and 15 kilogram quantities this year. There's two other teas that that we got that are incredibly special and really low quantity from Bandung.
Oh,
Do you want to talk about those?
Yes. Have one is a danju is picked from only one tree, and I think we only have 4 kilo.
4 kilos, yeah, for
4
the whole
kilos.
season.
And my mom made longzhu dragon balls, so we'll get the wrappers done and we can start sale. But only have 4 kilo.
Yep. And then we're gonna put those in a nice, really nice little
一个罐子.
yeah, porcelain or metal or something. We haven't decided yet, but
Yeah,
it's gonna be
I'm
really.
looking
They're gonna
for
be
that.
really beautiful.
Yeah.
And what's the other one?
Another one is 野放茶.
Yeah, feng cha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I think we have like 5 kilo.
5 kilos.
5 kilo.
Okay, from a few
Yeah.
different trees, small, just a little grove of trees. That's a tea that we actually produced in 2016, right? In 2017, we produced 2016 autumn and 2017 spring.
Yeah.
Is that right? We produced the Ye Cha,
Yeah.
just about 5 kilos again,
Yes,
and we pressed it
every
into
year.
cakes. But those are, you know, just because it was a couple of tongs, we decided not to sell them. I kept one tong, and then I sold cakes and I think a few cakes or a tong of each, or a tong to one person, a very special customer of ours. Not that other customers aren't special, but so this year the Ye Cha and the Danju is going to just be, because we're making it into Dragon Balls, it's just going to be it's going to be available to more people because of that, because we really wanted to share that specialty. This one is enough that we're going to press cakes, and we're going to press 400 gram cakes, so it'll be enough for about 84 cakes, or actually less, because of 400 grams would probably be about 75 cakes or something like that, of this Ai Lao Mijing that we're drinking now. It's just so thick and viscous, you know. It's just, and it's got 3 different things going on. That's like, you know, it's like a triangle almost. It's like and they're so different. You have sweetness, and then you have almost like a soupy brininess, almost like a salty, which I think is kind of ties in a little bit with the bitterness, but you have bitterness, sweetness, and like kind of umami or brininess here. And it's just, it's all happening at once. So it's really,
have very rich taste.
yeah.
茶气很足.
Yeah, and it's really strong heating
hot.
tea. Yeah. Wow, I'm just really impressed with this tea. Really, really impressed.
I hope we can get more next year.
Yeah.
Maybe the autumn.
Yeah.
Or
We're just, you know, we're always making contacts with new. Excuse me. Oh, let's get that chachi. No, it's a chachi. Sometimes it makes me feel kind of, you know, I don't know. That's what I really like about gushu is I feel like when we were drinking a lot of gushu this spring, as long as I stopped drinking it like around 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, I could sleep totally fine, like if not actually better. I feel like all the theanine and all the stuff in these these kind of really healthy mature tea trees and the sheng cha that, you know, is produced from it, it's just, there's something really like kind of like tranquil, you know, about it.
what is tranquil?
Like relaxing. There's it's just very like there's probably some kinds of chemical compound. I know there's L-theanine in tea in general, but oh yeah, got ya. Got the gushu yawn. Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of, I think that's what we're looking for. It's like when we make teas, especially like our own brand Yunnan sourcing teas, we're looking for something unique, and we're just looking for something unique, different, good, something that makes you feel good, and that's why I really like our teas as compared to, and again, I'm not knocking Monghai Tea Factory, Shaguan, or these big tea factories, but that feeling from drinking those really young plantation teas that are grown in sometimes less than biodiverse conditions, not biodiverse conditions, they don't tend to make you feel, good. Like when these young teas, even though they're super young, you can drink them and you feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that just reflects, again, to where the tea is coming from, the environment, the fact that the teas the trees are mature, and they're, they have deep roots, and they're drawing out all these nutrients out of the ground, and they're not from, and again, I don't know, I'm not a tea cultivation expert, but I think, the fact that, did I not give you any?
You did.
Oh, you drank it already?
Yeah,
okay.
drinking fast. Yeah, also this tea we sent to test, and the comeback is perfect, clean.
Right, yeah. 191 pesticides tested for, and no detectable residues at all. So I think their point of detectability is 0.01?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 0.01 mg per kg is usually the limit of what they can actually detect. So we're going for, obviously we like perfect, and in fact almost all the teas are, came back with no detectable residues for 191 pesticides. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And this is one of them as well. So that's really encouraging.
You can have that.
Okay, you can have that. But again, we'll make, if the tea comes back with, if it's within the EU limits for whatever pesticides were detected, we'll still make it if it's within those limits. But luckily, that almost all of them came back with just, perfect, no detectable residues whatsoever. So
the spring tea is always good. Every year, the spring tea we got is very lucky. It's very clean.
Well, it's not really luck. It's working with people year after year. I mean, and if we get somebody that we work with that has it, and it's maybe there's a detectable amount, for one or more of the pesticides, but within limits, we talk to them and we say, okay, well, we'll accept that, but this next year we would really like to see. Sometimes they can't always control it. Sometimes it's from blowover, something blowing from a neighboring area. Typically with areas like an Ai Lao and things like that, they're not only really high up, they're just, when you're at 1,800, 1,900 meters, they're not trying to grow bananas down there. And that's one of the huge differences between, a lot of these gushu, these areas and things like that, is that they're higher elevation, and they're not really suitable for like banana growing and some of these other things where there's pesticide use. So. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Okay. Wow.
Nice. We'll dump out the leaves when we're done, but nice, big, stout, really just large leaves. But we are also producing a Wu Liang too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not a Gushu Wu Liang, but it's a really good one.
Yes.
And that's a natural.
Good price too.
And clean. And this is so good. Yeah, that Wu Liang is going to be really excellent. And it'll be one that's going to be, definitely within, kind of like the medium to lower end. Well, for our teas, definitely one of the less expensive teas.
Yeah.
That Wu Liang is really good too. I almost forgot about that. All right, let's keep going with this. I'm going to push this a little bit more here. Yeah, it's strong tea for sure. Yeah, it's like sweet and bitter, just kind of hanging out in the mouth there. This is really what I like to see in young teas. But it's not overwhelming. It's never like really, again, talking about these big tea factory teas and just that. Yeah, you can't, you probably shouldn't drink them young, and that's fine. But I personally, I feel like it's nice to be able to drink the teas when they're young and be able to, as opposed to like absolutely having to age them to have them be palatable, Yeah. This tea will be great in 10 or 20 years. There's no doubt. I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever. Yeah,
even after a couple of years, will have something,
Oh yeah.
will be different.
I mean, that's the thing though, this is just a different style of, teas like this, these single estate teas from one family. This is just a different style of making tea entirely, it's and I think every bit is valid. And the most important thing again is the tea is good, it's clean, it feels good. And that it's going to carry it's going to carry that same personality into the future. It's going to change, but it's not going to it's not going to change 100%.
Yeah.
It's not going to become something entirely different,
Yeah, of course.
Just like Xiaoguan and Monghai Tea Factory plantation teas, they're not going to become something completely different. They will change a lot, but there's the element of what they are and the energy that they bring, when they're young is, it's still going to be there when it's old. So it's interesting because the Pu-erhs change, but they also don't change. It's like a person. They age and they change, but they also don't change. They're still the same person.
Yeah.
Obviously.
But they definitely get, with the age, they get more interesting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Also depends how you stretch them.
Well, yeah, of course.
Wow. That's nice.
Yeah. The other thing about these, teas from older tea trees is that they're really stable with brewing. Like it's not just like a plantation tea. You get it started, and as soon as it's become loose in the gaiwan or teapot, it becomes super strong. So it goes up like this, and then it drops down like that. Whereas these are kind of like, there's definitely a little bit of a peak, as it were, but it's a really stable kind of output.
比较平稳平衡的。
Yeah. I feel we're lucky to get this tea this year.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things, things came together in the right way.
Yeah, this year we also got more the new teas we never made before.
Yeah.
Have some special ones. You guys will see.
Yeah. We've got some great teas that are going to be coming out for sure. But again, the process of pressing is just really, really slow.
Yeah.
You know?
It's busy time.
Yeah. Well, it's hard. It's, you know, we got to get the wrappers printed. We got to get the lab tests done. Then we've got to decide on if we're going to do blends, because then we got to, you know, pull teas from some of the teas that we have. And once we get the wrappers printed, we have to hand stamp each of the wrappers with the different village names or the different names of the tea. We got to take it to the tea factory, and then the tea factory, you know, that's a whole nother thing. That takes a long time. They, you know, sometimes they're fast, sometimes they're slow. And then of course, after we get the teas pressed, you know, we've got to let them sit. We got to let them, you know, lose their water, you know, content for at least 2-3 weeks before we can safely ship them. Yeah. Because during the pressing of the teas, you know, to make the Mao Cha soft, they steam it. And so that they can make it soft and they can press it. And after that steaming's done, it's you know, dried like low temperature, you know, or, you know, 90s or something. It's dried. And, you know, but not 100%. Enough that they can wrap it, but not like 100% where you could like put it in plastic and ship it to somebody. That takes another 2-3 weeks at least, depending on the weather, before that can safely be done. So, you know, anyways, it takes a long time, especially for us to press teas. It just takes a long time, but you know, it's better to do it right than to hurry it and have it not, you know, to have something go wrong. Ooh, that's hot. This gallon does get hot, I will admit. Oh, wow. This is...
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to pull this one out, but I mean,
Wow.
you know, look at that.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Really nice. You know, nice and thick stems. Good, you know, nice deep color. Yeah. And that's a nice one too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
We'll dump it out and put the camera on it and we're done.
Okay.
Yeah, still, it's just kind of just keeps going. Anyways, we'll leave it at that. But definitely check this tea out. Probably by the time the video comes out, we'll be fairly close. Might not be available yet, but this will be the 2018 Yunnan sourcing Ai Lao Mijing Village raw Pu-erh tea cake. And it'll be a 400 gram cake. So check it out, and thanks for watching.
See you next time.